First of all, I want to use this opportunity to extend my very, very warm welcome to all of you, the distinguished member of the head table. In the interest of time, I'm going to accept the protocol already established and just move on because I know we're challenged for time. But welcome to you who are in the room and also to those who are joining us online. I know we have quite a few participants joining us online this morning. We're focusing on the resources of the ocean, or ocean resources. And these are extremely important for our countries. The ocean covers over 71% of the Earth's surface. And it is perhaps one of the most valuable natural resource that mankind has. According to the WWF, it's valued at over $24 trillion. That's a lot of money, folks. The ocean absorbs 90% of the heat from global warming. It sequesters 30% of the carbon dioxide that is released in the atmosphere. And it produces over 50% of the oxygen that we breathe. An estimated 50 to 80% of all life on Earth is found in the ocean. Less than 10% of the ocean space has been explored, and we have good scientific knowledge and understanding. Less than 10%. We're told that there are almost 237,000 marine species that have been identified. But scientists estimate that there may be as many as 25 million marine species. So vast majority is still to be even identified. Now, we have a wide variety and diversity of marine species. And these, a lot of them can be used to support human development, to support economic development, to support food security. Very, very important. So we have fish, reptiles, crustaceans, mollusks, marine plants, thousands of them, marine algae, thousands, planktons, etc. A whole range of marine living resources. We also have a whole range of non-living resources in the ocean. Hydrocarbons, we know, many of our countries are producing oil and gas from the hydrocarbon in the ocean. We have a range of minerals, polymetallic nodules, polymetallic sulfides, cobalt-rich ferromanganese crust, and a whole range of very useful elements, nickel, copper, cobalt, manganese, rare earth metals that are so valuable now for the technology industry. So, for small island developing states, in the Caribbean, the ocean is, in my opinion, the single most important and valuable resource that we have here. Of course, this is not reflected in our policies, because in my opinion, we tend to neglect the ocean and we really don't know a lot about it. No, with respect, and this presentation is focused on the marine living resources. And we face many challenges with the marine living resources. I just quickly mention some of them. I mean, these are known to you, but just for context, it's useful to mention them. We have the challenge of overexploitation, especially within the Caribbean, of some of our nearshore coastal resources. But we also have the challenge of some of our resources, known resources that are unutilized, underutilized. And so that is also a problem. So overexploitation is a problem, underutilization, unutilization of resources that's sitting there and could be helping with our development or food security, creating jobs, etc. You know, it's not acceptable. We have problems with IUU fishing and fisheries crime, and I don't need to go into that in any detail. We have degradation of critical ecosystems and marine habitats, you know, such as our coral reefs, mangrove, seagrass bed, and this is from a number of factors. And a lot of it due to anthropogenic activities, human activities, on land as well as in the sea. We have pollution, runoff from agriculture. We have sewage, we have plastic waste, a lot of it entering the marine environment. And, you know, they're degrading and the environment and impacting on the health of the marine living resources and biodiversity and the fish and other fishery products, or the seafood products that we want for food security. There's also the limited economic opportunities, poverty in many of our countries and communities, and lack of alternative livelihood opportunities. And this drives heavy reliance on the coastal and marine resources, can lead to overuse. In addition, we have challenges with governance and management. Our legal and regulatory framework or administrative systems for management or enforcement tend to be limited, again, because in some cases we just have small economies, and to do these things and to cover the large ocean space that we have, you know, it is challenging. And then we have the challenge of insufficient knowledge, insufficient data and information about our marine environment. And globally, I told you, it's only 10% of the marine space that has been properly studied and explored within the region. It's less. And people are surprised when I say we have not even surveyed, I think, much less than 10% of our marine space in the Caribbean region. So we have large ocean space, but honestly, we know a little about the coastal resources, but the resources further away from us in the exclusive economic zone, honestly, we know very little about. And this, right, this is just highlighting here the overall size of our exclusive economic zone. In the CARICOM countries, our ocean space, our exclusive economic zone, not ocean space, it's really just exclusive economic zone, is almost 80% of the area we have available for development. Our land space of all the countries, Guyana, Suriname, the larger countries, Haiti, Jamaica, Belize put together, is less than 20% of the area that we have available. And this is not, I'm not mentioning here the extended continental shelf that some of our countries are claiming, because countries and some of our countries have submitted claims for extended continental shelf. So we have huge, large ocean space, and so you know, the terminology large ocean space is now quite familiar. And fisheries and the use of the marine resources is very, very important for our countries, for food and nutrition security. I mean, we know that our people rely on the fish in our waters for food. We have fairly high per capita consumption. Global per capita consumption is about 20.5 kilograms. In the Caribbean region, you see projected on the screen there on the right, the per capita consumption. So some below global average, but overall, you know, we are well above the global average consumption of fish. And fish is filled with good nutrition, good nutritious stuff, protein and a whole range of vitamins and minerals and micronutrients and all things that we need for a healthy lifestyle. But of course, the fisheries sector is also extremely important for employment, for livelihoods, for our culture, for recreation, and for the stability of many of our coastal communities. It's an alternative. This slide really just shows the production, the trend in production. The bottom one is for the wider Caribbean region, the Western Central Atlantic. So it covers the entire wider Caribbean region, including the southern United States. And you can see the trend there for the past 70 years in fish production. So, I would say much more about that. The top left-hand chart is for the CARICOM countries, the 17 countries that we work with in our CARICOM countries. And you can see the trend speaks for itself. At the end of the day, all I want to say here is that, the fisheries sector is indeed very important for food, for export earning, and livelihoods. So I want to turn to say a few words about the policies and strategic framework for resilient and sustainable fisheries and management resources. Now, there are a number of important instruments that establish the frameworks for resilient and sustainable fisheries in the current country. And a key instrument, we don't hear much about this in the context of fisheries, is the revised Treaty of Aquaculture. It includes an article which commitment to environmental sustainability, marine environment, and sustainable use of the marine living resources of the country. Then there is the agreement establishing the CRFM, which is the organization that I work with. And the CRFM is an institutional arrangement to facilitate cooperation among the countries to develop and use our marine living resources, including aquaculture, in a sustainable manner for the benefit of our people, guided by international best practices. And then we have the Caribbean Community Common Fisheries Policy, including 4 protocols that have been established under the policy. And that is perhaps the key long-term strategic document for resilient and sustainable fisheries in the Caribbean region. And we also have the CRFM strategic plan that runs from 2022 to 2030 that we are now implementing. The strategic plan, of course, implements the commitments under the Common Fisheries Policy and a number of other instruments that's important. But in the interest of time, these are the main instruments. So, with respect to the Common Fisheries Policy, we have 4 protocols under the policy. Protocol and small-scale fisheries, ensuring that the needs of the small-scale fisheries sector is adequately recognized and integrated and provided for in our policies and programs and investments going forward. And I want to welcome the fisherfolk who are here with us. I know we have a few fishers in the room, and I think we probably have some online too. So special recognition and welcome to our stakeholders in the fishing industry, especially the small-scale operators. They're extremely important for us to realize the vision of utilizing our fishery and marine living resources. We also have a protocol addressing climate change and disaster risk management in the fishery and aquaculture sector, because in CARICOM, and for our countries, climate change is so critical. It is so fundamental. It's existential threat for us. So it's all all of government approach, all the people, we have to work together to address it. So we do have an important protocol that sets a roadmap for addressing climate change challenges regarding fisheries and aquaculture. And then we have a more recent protocol dealing with aquatic food as a strategic resource for food security. So the ministers 2 years ago adopted a protocol formally recognizing aquatic food, seafood, and others, aquaculture fish production as a strategic resource. And then we have the latest protocol, which was adopted last year, adopted part of last year, addressing the issue of sustainable use of the marine living resources for low economic growth and sustainable development. And it's very, very important that we are clear in our commitment to the resources, because there's a lot of confusion, right? I mean, some were promoting conservation and protection and forgetting about the need for human development and livelihoods and food security. And others who are not concerned about conservation and protection and so forth. But we really need to be clear in what we want and how we want to relate to our marine living resources, and the ministerial council of the CRFM, and indeed, and the quartet also, the Council for Trade and Economic Development of CARICOM endorsed the protocol identifying the sustainable use as the critical guiding principle with respect to the use of our marine resources. In other words, we are committed to utilizing these resources, but utilizing them in a sustainable manner by balancing development with conservation and making sure that we are able to get long-term sustainable benefits from these very important resources. And it might seem trivial, but this is extremely, extremely important, especially now when you have so much conflict and contradiction about, how we should move forward and where the balance is. We have another important instrument here dealing with IUU and fisheries crime, and that's a big issue for us in the Caribbean region. I won't go into that in any depth, but it is a very important issue, and we have to deal with it because of our limited size, our large ocean space, and the fact that our fisheries are concentrated largely in the coastal water, very little activity in the deeper waters. There's a fair amount of IUU fishing that's taking place. Then we have the strategic plan that I mentioned, 2022 to 2030, and we have 4 strategic goals and a couple of functional goals. The main strategic goal is really sustainable use. Not surprising, including diversification and development of our value chains, and also proper management and conservation of our fish resources to ensure that both the habitat, critical habitat, and the stocks are maintained at sustainable levels. So, there are a whole range of things that we're pursuing in this regard, from marine protected area, dealing with ghost fishing, strengthening management measures for various fisheries and stocks, etc., developing management plans, etc. A second strategic goal is addressing the welfare and livelihood issues, ensuring that our people, our consumers, our coastal communities, our fisher folk, that their livelihoods and welfare issues are delicate, and that they are resilient, that they're safe, and they're and the third strategic goal deals with ensuring supply of sufficient nutrient seafood for healthy lifestyle. And the fourth is resilience, given the challenges associated with climate change, ocean acidification, natural disasters, other external shocks. The need to invest and address resilience in our fisheries sector. And finally, I just want to, there's the penultimate slide, just mention a few of the projects that we are implementing in order to move us towards sustainable development, sustainable use, and proper management of the marine resources. And the first one I mentioned here is a project funded by the government of New Zealand and implemented by the CRFM in collaboration with Plant and Food Research. And I want to recognize the presence of Dr. Terrell Thompson, a consultant working with us on the project based in Barbados. So due to climate change and eutrophication of the oceans, we have been having, and a few other factors, we have been having massive blooms of sargassum across the Atlantic, inundating West African coasts as well as the Caribbean almost every year, and the trend is increasing. So we're having this massive inundation that is creating a lot of problems for us. So with the support of the government of New Zealand, this project is aimed at developing the value chain, developing products from the sargassum seaweed, and we have made significant progress. We are now we tested the sargassum to understand very well its chemical composition, biochemical composition, and then we moved in collaboration with UA and Hardy to develop a liquid fertilizer plant biostimulant from the sargassum, and that is going well. We are now in the process of doing some field testing to see how the product actually works in the field. And this could be huge because we import a lot of fertilizer in the region, and it costs us a lot of money. The agricultural sector depend on it, and this is good natural organic based fertilizer. So we're very pleased about that. Then we have another project which is focused on promoting national blue economy priorities through marine spatial planning, marine protected area, and fisheries value chain development. It's a GEF funded project. The value is about $48 million. But then we have the Canadian funded Starfish project, which is focused on sustainable technologies for adaptation and resilience in the fisheries sector. Of course, also addressing the social issues, gender, youth, etc. Projects focus more on addressing climate change and ocean acidification challenges and renewable energy and efficient technologies in the fisheries sector. Then we have the JICA-funded Coast Fish project, which is aimed at strengthening sustainable use, conservation, and management of coastal fishery resources, in particular, including the coral reefs and the nearshore resources, fish, as well as the marine systems. And we also have the EU EDF-funded sanitary and sanitary system and this project, which is aimed at increasing compliance by countries with international standard procedures to increase international regional trade. But those are just a sample of the projects that we are currently there are others that we are working with, such as the Leveler from the with the project coordinator for the Pro Caribe Plus project, a follow-on from the CRFM Plus project that we did recently. So there are a number of other projects that are related to so in conclusion, development of sustainable ocean economy is key for our future, for our prosperity, and for our sustainable development. So our ocean resources are critical for our long-term future. So we depend on our ocean for food and nutrition security. And we will be even more dependent. And the minister in his presentation this morning, in his working remarks, mentioned the fact that we are still importing a lot of fish and seafood for our people, for food security, but also for the tourism sector. And we have to change that. I know we export a fair amount of goods, similar to what we import. And we export high value products like lobsters and green prawns, etc. But there is no reason why we cannot be self-sufficient in seafood and fish production through aquaculture and through utilizing and diversifying our fisheries. So fish and seafood, they are essential sources of protein and mineral micronutrients. And so we must use and protect these. We must balance development and protection to ensure that we have long-term access and get long-term benefits from these, especially as we think about the future. But of course, sustainable use of the fisheries resources is only possible if we are able to protect the critical habitats and ecosystems that these living marine species are dependent on. And we're facing huge challenge there, especially brought about by climate change, acidification of the ocean, and pollution of the so we have to pay attention to that. And so healthy ecosystems such as the coral reefs, the mangrove, seagrass, they are also critical for protection of our shoreline and the infrastructure on land. When you see how mangrove swamps actually diminish the energy from the storms and sea surges and storm surges, etc. It's amazing, and how the mangroves protect the land from erosion. It's amazing. We really need to make sure we invest in rebuilding our mangrove, our other ecosystem, seagrass that are so important for the health of our marine living resources, but also protect us, especially in this changing environment with more frequent hurricanes and storms, and therefore to build resilience on all levels among the ecosystem and the ecosystems level in the marine environment, but also for our coastal and fishing communities and our countries overall. So, all in all, these marine resources are critical, and for processing, we need to recognize that we are dependent on these resources than many of the other countries. And I find that in our region, in my opinion, my humble opinion, we're not giving priority to these marine ocean resources. So, but I think the time will come when we will have to pay more attention to these, because these resources are what, in my opinion, will save us as a region, as a people. So I don't. We need to save them, but it is these resources that we need to take care of, and that will save us. Thank you very much.
Thank you also, Mr. Haughton, for that very comprehensive presentation, Road to Resilient Fisheries.